Shedeur Sanders' mom makes fiery stand after Rex Ryan calls Browns QB an embarrassment. A clash over respect, pressure, and narratives in the NFL. The National Football League has never been shy of drama. On any given Sunday, the headlines extend far beyond what happens on the gridiron. A rookie's confidence, a veteran coach's fiery commentary, and a parent's protective outburst can become just as captivating as the final score of a primetime matchup. That is exactly what unfolded in Cleveland this past week, when Shedeur Sanders, a third-string quarterback with a famous last name and a growing legion of supporters, found himself thrust into the center of a storm. What began as an ESPN soundbite from Rex Ryan, one of football's most outspoken former head coaches, quickly escalated into a national debate. Ryan's sharp tongue cut into Sanders, calling him an embarrassment, before he'd even played a meaningful down of NFL football. But Ryan's critique didn't go unanswered. Shedeur's mother, Pilar Sanders, jumped into the fray with a furious Instagram post that defended her son while taking aim at Ryan's intent and character. Though she later deleted the post, the damage, or perhaps the statement, had already been made. The saga has once again underscored the shifting balance of power in modern sports, between old-school analysts who believe rookies should be silent and humble, and a new generation of athletes and their families who are unafraid to shape their own narratives. The spark? Rex Ryan's explosive takedown. Rex Ryan has never been one to mince words. During his tenure as an NFL head coach with the New York Jets and Buffalo Bills, he became known as much for his bombastic press conferences as for his defensive scheming. Since transitioning into television, Ryan has leaned into that persona, providing ESPN with one of its most unfiltered and controversial voices. This time, the target of his ire was Shedeur Sanders, the 23-year-old son of Hall of Famer Deion Coach Prime Sanders and current third-string quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Appearing on ESPN's Get Up, Ryan unleashed what might have been the longest, harshest public critique of a rookie QB sitting so low on the depth chart. "This kid talks and he runs his mouth," Ryan declared. Like he said, "I can be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your A** in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You've got the talent to be the quarterback you should be. You should be embarrassed that you're not the quarterback now." Ryan's words echoed with finality, as if he wasn't just critiquing Sanders' comments but attempting to define him altogether. Overconfident, lazy, and unworthy of the hype surrounding his name. Yet what made Ryan's tirade so striking was its intensity relative to Sanders' role. The young quarterback hasn't played a regular season snap. He's a developmental player working to climb the depth chart. Why, then, was Ryan so intent on tearing him down? Pilar Sanders' fiery Instagram response. If Rex Ryan thought his remarks would be the final word, he underestimated one of the most passionate figures in Shedeur Sanders' corner. His mother, Pilar. Pilar took to Instagram, posting what read like a scathing open letter to the sports world at large. Though the post has since been deleted, screenshots spread across social media almost instantly. Her words struck like a lightning bolt. To young athletes and football fans, she wrote, "This is what impotent, cancerous, envious energy looks like. This type of evil goes way back. You can cut it with a knife, embedded in BLD and bones, seeping through all of the rotting wormholes it has." The language was raw, poetic, and biblical in tone. She wasn't just calling out Ryan's critique. She was attacking the foundation upon which such criticisms are built: envy, toxicity, and malice disguised as analysis. She went further still. What and who does he really represent? Its family and peers should be embarrassed to know and let this on their platforms. There's no room for this type in sports. Please, TSK. Enough. It was the type of message that spoke less like a carefully crafted PR statement and more like the instinctive defense of a mother unwilling to watch her son's name be dragged. Why she deleted it remains a mystery. Perhaps she wanted to avoid fueling an even bigger media circus. Perhaps advisors urged her to take it down. Or perhaps she simply felt she had said enough. But by then, the words had already traveled across the digital landscape, ensuring that her voice became part of the national conversation. Why the criticism hit harder. Shedeur Sanders has been the subject of heightened scrutiny ever since his name was called by the Browns in the draft. Unlike most third-string quarterbacks, Sanders entered the league under a microscope, thanks to his father's Hall of Fame legacy, his outspoken confidence, and the attention he drew at Colorado during his college career. For Ryan, Sanders' belief in his own ability was reason enough to brand him as arrogant and embarrassing. But context matters. When asked recently if he was ready to suit up, Sanders didn't boast about being the league's next superstar. Instead, he offered a calm assessment. "I'm locked in and taking things day to day." Yet, when pressed further, he added a remark that ignited the backlash. "You see the quarterback play in the league right now. I know I'm capable of doing better than that." Was it a jab at Joe Flacco, Cleveland's 40-year-old starter? Was it a general observation about declining offensive efficiency across the NFL? Sanders didn't clarify, but his words opened the door for Ryan's criticism, and Ryan barged through it with gusto. Sanders' preseason performance. Promise and struggles. Lost in the noise is Sanders' actual on-field performance. While his regular season debut remains pending, his preseason outings gave Browns fans a glimpse of his potential. Preseason Game 1 versus Panthers, Sanders impressed, completing 14 of 23 passes for 138 yards, throwing 2 touchdowns, and helping Cleveland to a 30-10 victory. His poise stood out, and for a moment, the hype surrounding him felt justified. Preseason Game 2 versus Eagles, he missed this matchup due to an oblique injury, a setback that slowed his momentum. Preseason Game 3 versus Rams, this time, the rookie struggled. He went just 3 for 6 for 14 yards, was sacked 5 times, and never found rhythm behind shaky protection. In total, Sanders finished the preseason with 17 completions on 29 attempts, 152 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 19 rushing yards, 7 sacks. A mixed bag, yes, but hardly disastrous, especially for a rookie adjusting to NFL speed. The Joe Flacco problem. Part of why this controversy refuses to die is the presence of Joe Flacco atop the Browns' depth chart. The veteran quarterback, once a Super Bowl MVP, now looks like a shadow of his former self. In Cleveland's loss to the Detroit Lions, Flacco mustered only 84 passing yards, threw 2 interceptions, and failed to find the end zone. For fans watching, the juxtaposition is hard to ignore. Why is a struggling veteran immune from ridicule while a young rookie, who has shown flashes of talent, is branded an embarrassment for simply voicing confidence? This double standard fuels the defense of Sanders, from his family to analysts like LeSean McCoy, who have openly called for patience and fairness. The support system that sets Sanders apart. Unlike most rookies buried on the depth chart, Sanders doesn't face the media storm alone. His father, Deion Sanders, has never shied away from promoting his son's talent on social media, amplifying his confidence at every turn. His mother, Pilar, has now shown she is equally willing to enter the fray when criticism crosses a line. And that support matters. For a young quarterback trying to find his place in the NFL, having a family that shields him from the harshest narratives allows him to focus on development rather than distraction. Most third-string quarterbacks toil in anonymity. Sanders has both the burden and the benefit of carrying a famous name. The spotlight is harsher, but so too is the shield of support around him. The bigger question, was Rex Ryan right? At the heart of this debate lies a simple question. Was Rex Ryan justified? On one hand, Ryan represents the old-school belief that rookies should be humble, quiet, and deferential. To him, Sanders' confidence is arrogance, his words disrespectful to the process. And Ryan isn't wrong that Sanders hasn't earned anything yet. On the other hand, Ryan's intensity seems disproportionate. Criticizing a rookie for believing in himself while ignoring the struggles of a declining veteran sends the wrong message. Sanders may not be ready today, but labeling him an embarrassment does little to help his growth. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Sanders does need to earn his stripes, But he also deserves the space to believe he can succeed without being vilified for it. Conclusion: a narrative still being written. In the end, this saga is less about Shedeur Sanders' current place on the Browns' depth chart and more about how narratives in modern sports are built. Rex Ryan's words reflect the old guard, a world where analysts and coaches define the stories that surrounded players. Pilar Sanders' response represents a new era, where athletes and their families push back instantly, reclaiming control over how their stories are told. Shedeur Sanders remains untested in the NFL. He has shown flashes of promise in the preseason, made mistakes, and learned lessons. But he is not an embarrassment. He is a 23-year-old quarterback trying to climb the steepest hill in professional sports. Whether he succeeds will depend not on our